Okay, guys, we got some big news happening right now. Congress has already banned TikTok on their devices for congressmen and senators. But now they're potentially looking at banning it for the entire country. Over 150 million Americans use it right now. This is almost half of the entire population of the United States. The FBI is warning, and Congress is warning, that this sends data over to China. The CEO of TikTok just testified before Congress. Listen to what he had to say.
2 years ago, I became the CEO of TikTok. Today, we have more than 1 billion monthly active users around the world, including over 150 million in the United States. Our app is a place where people can be creative and curious, and where close to 5 million American businesses, mostly small businesses, go to find new customers and to fuel their growth. Now, as TikTok has grown, we've tried to learn the lessons of companies that have come before us, especially when it comes to the safety of teenagers. While the vast majority of people on TikTok are over 18, one of our fastest growing demographics are people over 35. We spent a lot of time adopting measures to protect teenagers. Many of those measures are firsts for the social media industry. ByteDance is not owned or controlled by the Chinese government. It's a private company. 60% of the company is owned by global institutional investors. Now, TikTok itself is not available in mainland China. We're headquartered in Los Angeles and in Singapore, and we have 7,000 employees in the US today. Still, we have heard important concerns about the potential for unwanted foreign access to US data and potential manipulation of the TikTok US ecosystem. Our approach has never been to dismiss or trivialize any of these concerns. We have addressed them with real action. There are more than 150 million Americans who love our platform, and we know we have a responsibility to protect them, which is why I'm making the following commitments to you and to all our users. Number one, we will keep safety, particularly for teenagers, as a top priority for us. Number two, we will firewall protected US data from unwanted foreign access. Number three, TikTok will remain a place for free expression and will not be manipulated by any government. And fourth, we will be transparent and we will give access to third-party independent monitors to remain accountable for our commitments.
Now, however, Congress has felt that this was severe enough that they banned it on government devices. The White House is urging Congress to pass it quickly so that the president or Congress has the authority to ban it nationwide. Former President Donald Trump considered banning it nationwide, but ultimately didn't. Here's what Senator Michael Bennet has to say. Some pretty shocking stuff.
150 million users in the U.S., a 50% increase since 2020. The testimony comes amid mounting national security concerns in Congress and the Biden administration about whether the Chinese-owned app could give American citizens data to the Chinese government. In light of the concerns, the Senate is pushing to pass a bipartisan bill that would grant the Biden administration the power to implement a nationwide ban on the app if needed. Joining us now, Democratic Senator Michael Bennet of Colorado. He's a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee. What are you hoping to hear from the CEO?
I know what we're going to hear, which is that we should believe that it's okay for a wholly owned subsidiary of ByteDance that's controlled by the CCP to do what it wants in America when it's been banned in China because China calls it digital opium, when China won't allow our own digital platforms to broadcast anything in the People's Republic of China. That's what we're going to hear, and I hope we can move on to more important issues like the shooting in Denver yesterday.
So, but how to cut through the concerns about TikTok that even Congress is dealing with, and the members of Congress and other people who work for the administration asking to take it off their phones. What can the CEO And what can Congress and members of the committee do in this hearing to get more information about how that data is being used?
Well, Mirka, that is such a great question. When he was in my office, the CEO admitted to me that my interpretation of Chinese law was correct, which was that any time the CCP wanted to say we're going to have the data turned over, that ByteDance and therefore TikTok had a legal obligation to turn that data over. Now he's saying something different in his testimony to the committee. That's what he said very clearly in my office. I heard the Chinese government was saying today that our banning of TikTok, if that's what we decide to do, might create a worry about investment in the United States of America. I say we should take our chances. They have done their level best to destroy their own tech industry. They haven't allowed us to have our tech industry there under fair circumstances. They've spent the last 25 years, Joe knows this, they've spent the last 25 years stealing our IP, allowing the United States to export to China our most valuable technology. They've built their space program, among other things, out of that for the privilege of our sucking out the lowest cost consumer products that we can buy at the dollar store and Walmart, and now hypnotizing us with TikTok, which the average American spends 3 weeks a year on. I think we can do better than that as a nation. I think we can do better than that as a country, and the sooner we ban this, the better.
Some strong words from Senator Michael Bennet. You can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. Yeah. He's a pretty good senator. I like him. It just seems like a real good American. He if you remember him, he was very instrumental and emotional about the Sandy Hook shooting, and he fought for years and years and years to try to make America's school systems a better place since then. And for years and years, he's been fighting. We see so much tragedy in our school systems, and these mass shootings happen every day. We have more mass shootings in the United States than days of the year. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So the Trump case, the grand jury with Stormy Daniels' hush money will probably be revisited next week. It's pretty much been a day-to-day type of field play audible. It just feels like every day. You never know what's going to happen here with this. And so we'll see what happens here. There's also some talk here on this that there is a possibility, I think it was Kevin McCarthy who was talking about this, that cases that were, again, this is coming from the Republican side, so, keep that in mind here, but that cases like Trump's with the Stormy Daniels hush money should probably lead to fines and not criminal charges. But remember, this is Republican rhetoric kind of coming here from this, so keep that in mind. I was kind of thinking about this as well because it kind of relates to me with the Bill Clinton case. And again, we're hearing a lot of this, this is political, that the Democrats are doing this to Trump. And remember, the Republicans did this to Clinton with the Monica Lewinsky and Paula Jones case. If you watch the documentary, I think it was I call that American Crime Story, season 3. Me and my wife watched it. It was very, very good. It kind of basically, it's a documentary that basically goes over step by step what happened. And found it very fascinating, very fascinating. And Clinton actually paid her some hush money to make the case go away, or settlement money, whatever you want to call it. So I found that kind of relatable. Now, of course, every situation is different. Everybody's situation is different, no matter who the person is. Every situation is different because there's just different people, different situations, right? So I found that interesting here. But I think the dollar amount was, I think it was off the top of my head, it was like $850,000 or something along the lines there. So, and again, you could kind of relate this here that, the Republicans were politically going after Clinton there. And again, I mentioned this in another show here a few days ago. Every time I hear of Bill Clinton, I think of Monica Lewinsky. And it really just kind of overshadows his presidency, at least for me. You guys can let me know your thoughts here in the comments. But every time I think of Bill Clinton, I think of the Monica Lewinsky scandal and how he was impeached for basically for an affair with a woman, and how he, lied about it, et cetera, et cetera. And not really much to do with his actual presidency there. And you guys, it's just crazy here how, and really you can think about how political that is, and it really doesn't, what does it have to do with running the country? And now you can kind of relate that to Trump and their criminal potential charges about hush money over a woman here. And yeah, and you got to kind of wonder here, is this something we should be doing to our presidents, whether they're Republican or Democrat? You have the perfect scenario here, Republican and Democrat. Should we be persecuting our presidents here and sending this message to the world, to Russia, to China, North Korea, to other countries, that the other party, Republican or Democrat, is literally willing to tear apart our own presidents, the symbol of our country, over anything they can get on them, So you have these two men that paid these two women in kind of similar stories. Now I get there's different scenarios, because every scenario is different, and you can see Lily here, my cat, in the background, by the way. But should we find and try to get any piece of dirt on any president there is, and try to persecute them, try to impeach them? Trump was impeached twice. Clinton was impeached once. Neither of them was kicked out of presidency, because you need those 60 votes in the Senate, but technically you're impeached when the vote passes in the House. And here it is. History repeats itself once again. Yeah. Well, of course, the impeachment with Trump was when he was in office, but Trump is literally the front runner again here as a Republican. Yeah, and you got to kind of wonder here, could Trump now be charged criminally for something that happened back in 2016? It's 2023, so it's literally 7 years ago. And they're coming to criminal charge here. Now, don't forget that Trump is actually under investigation for multiple different things here now. I mean, we have potential January 6th things. We have this tax evasion thing here. The New York Attorney General, literally a couple different things here. So Trump actually has multiple different lawsuits going on here that, and you got to think that they have to try to culminate them and come to an end, or for any of them or all of them, before he runs for presidency. Because if he runs for he's running for presidency, he says, but once he runs, and if he wins, he gets that immunity again for another 4 years, because once you're president, you're essentially, you get the immunity for while you're president. So I find that interesting as well. You guys can let me know your thoughts here. And the question here is, should past presidents have immunity up into a certain level? Should you be able to prosecute a president for walking across the street the wrong way, for a parking ticket, for paying a woman money? I mean, you can, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you can kind of relate. And again, I'm not from either party, in case you're new to the channel or something along the lines. And that's why I found that relatable, that we have a Clinton and a Trump, a Democrat and a Republican. So like, if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, you have like one from each side here, right? So you have a president, one from each side, who kind of got persecuted from the other side here, right? And both of them, you can look at them that like neither of those issues were really like that egregious issues. They were like both over a woman, and yeah, maybe they did something wrong with a woman, both of them were married. Okay. Neither of them probably should have did that, right? They were both married, and, be faithful to your wives and stuff like that. Right. But again, it's their personal lives. It doesn't really have anything to do with running the country per se. And it's not like they committed treason or anything along those lines. But the problem here is that it's kind of sad, but we're supposed to be the United States of America, and it feels like the Democratic Party is always trying to get something on our Republican Party, especially when it's a Republican president, and the Republicans are always trying to get something on the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party always trying to get something on the Republican Party. Yeah, and right now you got the Republicans saying, oh, they're just trying to persecute Trump. They're always trying to get Trump. But the Democrats were saying the same thing when Clinton was president. The Republicans were always trying to get the Democrats. Yeah, and as my father would say, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, because both parties do it. It's really kind of sad. Why can't we be the United States of America? In fact, the last time I can really remember that we were the United States of America is actually when I think our last president had the highest approval rating in modern day history. Can you guess at who it was or remember who it was? It was former President Bush during after the 9/11 attacks. Yeah, because sad as it is, that actually brought our country to unity. Someone attacked our country and brought us, the Republican and Democrat kind of went away and said, oh, we now have a common enemy. As sad as that's what it takes for our country to come together. Yeah, and Bush actually had the highest approval rating, and there it goes, with the Twin Towers and everything like that. Yeah, so it's sad that that's what it takes for our country. The other thing I fear here is that if Trump actually gets criminal charges, it'll push the parties even further apart, if that's even possible, but it probably is. How do we bring our parties closer? How do we become the United States again? Maybe we need a third party. Maybe a third party would... The problem is these two parties are too strong. They have too much political power. How do we get a third party in there that actually can compete? Let me know your thoughts here in the comments, and I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. Make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon afterwards so you don't miss out on new videos. They're completely free. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know I missed the 10 a.m. video. To be honest, I actually scheduled my video wrong. I had it filmed and then I missed it, so my apologies for that. But yeah, normally that's how it goes. And if you appreciate these videos, don't forget to hit the like button for us. Here's some videos you can watch next. Here's big news for Social Security, Medicaid, and more. And here was a massive announcement by the Fed for millions of Americans. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.